Hello, I'm Councillor Richard Edwards from Newtown and Llanllwchaiarn Town Council, and I'm the lead councillor on the Place Plan project.
And I'm Sorrel. I'm the project officer that worked on the place plan for Newtown and Llanllwchaiarn Town Council.
Okay, so I suppose we heard about these place plans that were being offered or supported by the Welsh Government, and was reading about what they were, and we thought this was something we'd like to do in Newtown. Newtown is the largest town in rural Mid Wales, and it's on the River Severn as well. We were established in 1297, and our population is over 11,300. And at the time of the place plan, the precept was just under £650,000 a year. We were encouraged, as I said, by PCC to look at planning from the Planning and Regeneration Department, who part-funded it to look ahead and do a place plan. And this was to help us increase influence in the local planning decisions by supplementary planning guidance, to be more proactive. And also, we had done several consultations in the past, one of which was coming to an end, and that was the community plan. So we wanted to build on what we had done previously, previous plans and previous consultations. Plus, there were two big things happening in Newtown at the time. One was the bypass was being built. So we're looking at what would happen post-bypass. And also there was a new health campus being designed, and looked at where that might go in the town as well. So there was going to be change, and we thought now was a good time to really be part of that. Also, we'd had good evidence from other plans in the past that we had used the evidence collected to lever in inward investment into the town, and we thought a place plan could really help with that going forward as well.
So in terms of how long it took, just over 2 years. We started in November 2018, and we had the plan adopted by Powys County Council and the Town Council in July last year, 2021. We did, of course, have a pause for COVID. We were responding to COVID as a town council, so that was a sort of 6-month pause in the middle. So just over 2 years. In terms of the challenges, a little context about our place plan and what it contained for those that might not know. We covered both land use and non-land use topics. And it was quite a wide-ranging plan. There were 11 different topics, from heritage to housing, tourism, business, health. It was very, very broad. And within each topic, there were 2 sections. One section that had planning policies, and a second section that had projects and tasks that people told us from the evidence that they would like to see happening. So in terms of the challenges, I think we felt that we would have just liked larger numbers of the general public in the town to respond. We had a lot of comments to sift through. We had 7,000, over 7,000 comments. So it wasn't so much the number of comments, but we would have liked a larger number, I think, generally of residents to engage, and a bit more buy-in as well from the business community. You know, the scope of the plan was quite wide, so it took quite a lot of resource to actually draft the plan and get it finished. So, you know, a little bit longer than we all thought. Okay, so yeah, while we were preparing and during, there were a lot of benefits. A lot of it was to do with engagement and communications, so engaging with residents, and it allowed a sort of formal opportunity, if you like, for residents to actually record some of their views and strong opinions about things that they might have just been chatting about over the years. But it was nice for them to be able to actually formalise that, and also to gather their expertise as well. You know, there's a huge amount of knowledge and expertise in town. Also working closely with other organisations, particularly the planning policy department at the local authority, and other departments there as well. And it also raised the profile of the work of the town council too. Benefits since then, I mean, even before the place plan was actually finished being written, I think, certainly before it was adopted, the evidence that we'd gathered was already being used to contribute to funding applications. And there were a couple of quite large investments that came into the town as a result. And one of those was a large Welsh Government project funded 675,000, which was based around the themes of renewal, recycling and circular economy.
So again, using the evidence, there was a £500,000 bid with Welsh Government funding. This bid was put in jointly between Paris County Council and Newtown and Llanllwchaiarn Town Council. And this was the Targeted Regeneration Investment Programme, a town centre green infrastructure and biodiversity project, which is started and just almost finished in the town centre at the moment. So the project was to improve the appeal of the high street, making it more attractive place to visit and shop, as well as improving green infrastructure. So I think the evidence collected there was vital in enabling us to draw down that funding, but also in helping constructing what the high street would look like with the funding as well. So it fed in two different areas to that. As well as just bringing in the funding or looking to bring in funding, it had also been able to give more influence in local planning decisions. So for instance, we've had a large pre-planning application, hotel, garage and pub development. And we had a much more, as a planning committee, we had a much more structured reply using the policies from the place plan. I think it's much clearer now for councillors understanding what we are trying to achieve via planning policy and supplementary planning guidance than it was previously, and it allows us to give better detail back to our planning authority. And again, we had a large housing development on a brownfield site, and we were able to both support elements we liked inside of that, such as building on brownfield sites and not greenfield sites, but also actually oppose or say we didn't like certain elements because it went against the policies of the place plan. So it allowed us to do two things when replying to that. One of the other vital parts is from the very beginning, for our, I suppose what we've done with other plans, we wanted to make sure that the evidence that was collected didn't just sit on the shelf somewhere, but it was there to be used by other organisations, businesses, individuals in the town, so they could actually use it to do things that the town wanted in that case, whether it be drawing down funding or whether it be things that people felt were missing in the town. So with that, we've worked with other organisations such as Sustrans, and that was a consultation making routes safer in the town. We've worked with Paris County Council Active Travel, and that's been providing evidence to develop networks in the town and look at the pinch points in the town identified by the residents. North Paris Wellbeing Programme, and that's influencing or looking at how the health hub might work in the town as well. And also our branding consultants. We're going through a process of a new branding for the council, and it saved them time because they were able to use the evidence already collected in the place plan, meaning they didn't have to do so much of a consultation themselves because it had already been collected and was very relevant to what they were looking at.
Yeah, I think the buy-in from the town council was always good from day one. They could see the benefit, and also I would say as well the local authority, that was invaluable. The amount of encouragement, but also officer time that was put in from planning department at the local authority was key. As I said before, we'd hoped for a slightly better response from the public survey. I did feel a little bit disheartened on that, but I did go away and look at what the sort of average feedback and sort of level of engagement is from other local authorities, and I know these things do tend to be fairly low. We did have a really good buy-in from organisations. I think there were 48 from memory, organisations that were really actively involved in the process. So, that means either coming to a meeting or some of them actually, their employees went out with clipboards in groups and gathered data about the condition of footpaths and cycle paths around town. So we were really pleased with that. A lot of buy-in. So as well, in terms of engagement, since the plan's been adopted and published, we had a launch where we hosted an art competition. for the town, and we were inviting people to send in images and artworks of their favourite places they'd like to celebrate in the town. And the winning artwork was displayed externally on the walls of the art gallery, and lots of people could see it even when the gallery was shut. And we also had a special double-page spread in the local paper that we commissioned, and part of that was to display the artwork, and the other half of that was to talk about, again, what the place plan was, and just celebrate that and inform people about that. So you know, hopefully there's some good profile and awareness.
And I was just going to add in there to say that where we're talking about buy-in now, going back to that question of saying that where we didn't have as much buy-in as we wanted, which was maybe from the local business community, actually in the place plan we identified that and said one of the actions in it was to try and strengthen those links for future consultations. So even where we identified something that wasn't as good as we wanted, in the place plan now is an action to help us strengthen those links. So in the future, we'll be able to get more evidence, more buy-in from the bits that we didn't feel were quite strong enough this time. So the Economy and Environment Committee, which deals with planning matters, has a copy of the planning policies, which informs the planning consultation decisions each month. So we just take that section out so everyone can refresh themselves with the very relevant parts of what they need. And then we use that to formulate our responses in that case then. So how we can support or oppose certain elements of any planning application. Also, we've got a new council now elected in May this year. So the new councillors and all new councillors and the ones that have been on previously as well will take part in a training, so they have a more in-depth knowledge of our place plan. And obviously there's planning training available as well through One Voice Wales and Planning Aid Wales. But also we have asked Planning Aid Wales to act as advisors on our place plan to help us embed the plan with the new council this year. So that will just help us, as I think, because again, as town councillors, we're not experts on planning policy. So it just, I suppose, gives us confidence that to begin with, if we feel our way with the new policies and the plan and applying it, that we are sure about what we're doing in that case as well. We've also got a video, and the video has been circulated to all councillors and staff, and that gives the details of the place plan, so people can see that at any point and refer to it. And inside the place plan itself, there are 89 different tasks and actions identified, and each have a code, and they make their way into the town council's own business plan. So we have a 5-year business plan for the town council. Our previous one will finish at the end of this year, and we'll be looking at a new 5-year plan, and we'll look at the place plan as a reference to actually how we construct our next 5-year plan as well. Now, some of the things, those actions that were at tasks and actions, are not all delivered. Some are delivered by the town council, some are enabled by the town council, and sometimes we influence other organisations to do something in that case then. So it's deliver, enable or influence. They're the 3 sort of actions we take that come out of the place plan as well. And then we also make a note of the progress of the tasks, and they are reported on in the town council's annual report each year. So it's 2036 it runs to, and we were looking at fitting that in with the schedule of the new LDP. So there are already some reviews going on, because supplementary planning guidance is reviewed over a procedure a Powys County Council have got. So already some bits will be coming up, but we were looking, I'm not sure we've bottomed that out yet with Powys County Council, whether that is what we're going to do, but I think that's the feeling on the council, that if there's a new LDP and they'll be consulting on an LDP, that's probably the time for us to consult on a new place plan, so it links into the next LDP and starts to inform the next LDP as well. For myself as a councillor, it's the value it's added to the planning process. So it's much more structured than it was previously, and I think I've referred to this already, but it's much clearer. I feel much clearer as a councillor, my fellow councillors, and as a committee, that we understand how we're contributing to planning applications, and how our responses sit much more firmly inside planning, LGP, and how it all links together. I think we've got a much clearer understanding of that, which gives us confidence as councillors to be more involved, whether it be in an application or pre-planning, whatever. We've got that confidence that we've got the support of planning policy, but also that's based, of course, on the consultation we did and the evidence we collected. So the support of the residents in how we're answering those questions as well.
Yeah, and in terms of the town council's work, as Richard was saying, because we've collected so many comments and points of view, and they are all written down from the residents. I think it helps to give the town council a mandate, for progressing those tasks and actions, because that's what the town has asked for, and as we mentioned a bit earlier, so all those tasks will find their way into the town council's business plan. So yeah, I think that's a huge benefit and informs the town council's work for many years. We found it a huge benefit. It's also useful to know what other forms of engagement they might have already done, because I feel like our place plan is a sort of hybrid between a place plan and a community plan, in that we consulted really widely about all sorts of topics, but depending on what other town and community councils might have done, if they've done no other consultation, or if they've done a lot, that would sort of inform what sort of scale of place plan. But to do one is a great idea. Yeah, definitely.
Yes, definitely. I think for me, sort of refer back to what I said previously, we've got that breadth of connection with the public. We consulted widely, not just to relevant groups, but also geographically. We went out across the town as well, and we then went to particular groups such as youth or whatever. So we collected that information in there. So we have, from time to time on the council, there are disagreements, but I always feel that the evidence in the place plan does help guide the decisions we're making very strongly, because you can hear the voices of the public inside of that, and hear the voices of the organisations in town that contribute to the benefit of the town as well. So you can hear that, and you think that's something you're there to represent the people and show leadership. Well, you get both from the place plan in that case, and you get that information from the public, and that allows you to actually lead on what they would like to see happen in the town. Thank you for allowing us to present this today.
I hope it's been of some use. Thank you very much.